Hello again. So, in the last few lessons, we've talked about the present progressive verb tense, but we're putting that aside for now, and I've also talked about gerunds. Today, we're going to expand on the idea of gerunds a little bit, and I'm going to introduce to you properly participles. Now, if you remember, a gerund is a verb plus ing that acts like a noun. Okay? So it's a form of a verb that isn't a verb. It's a noun. And anytime we have a form of a verb that doesn't act like a verb, it's a participle. And there are generally two kinds of participles that we're going to be looking at. Well, three. But we've already talked about gerunds and you should know what those are. But just remember this. Participles are forms of verbs used as either nouns, and again, that's always gerunds, or adjectives. And this is where it gets a little bit confusing. Because you know those words, those gerunds, which are verbs that aren't really verbs, they're nouns? Well, now you have the exact same word, and it can be an adjective. But then we also have the past participles. The ing is the present participle. Here it's the past participle. Usually in regular verbs that's to be made by verb ed, but we're going to go through some examples where that's not the case. But just know that whenever you have a present participle, you can also have a past participle, and these at least are never nouns. Okay, the past participles are always going to be used as adjectives. But that's essentially all participles are. Participles are forms of verbs used as either nouns, which are gerunds, or adjectives, which could be ing or ed. And we're going to get more into what the ing and ed verbs look like in just a moment. But first, I want to give you an example. You know the verb to bore, right? Maybe some of you have had a teacher, and the teacher is a boring teacher. The teacher bores you. The teacher puts you to sleep. The teacher talks in one tone all the time. And maybe the teacher even begins to put himself to sleep. Maybe you've had a boring teacher. Right? So there, we're using the verb ing as an adjective, a boring teacher. And remember, that means that the teacher is causing you to be bored. So a boring teacher creates bored students. This is important because often I have students who raise their hand in class and they're talking about a video, not one of our grammar videos, but some other video made by some other company, and they go, "Teacher, I'm boring." If only they knew. None of my students, none of our students, but students in general. But think of what you're saying. When you have verb ing as an adjective, that idea is the cause of something. So a boring teacher is a teacher that makes you bored. The ed adjective is the effect, usually an emotion. And that's easy to remember because all of the e's line up. Now, again, sometimes it's not that simple, but that's at least a good start to get you understanding the difference, especially in the usage of ing and ed. Let's look at some of these other examples and give you some ideas of how these might be used in sentences. So you know the verb to write. Write is an irregular verb. Writing assignments can be difficult. There, writing assignments is used as the adjective. I can say writing is hard, where writing is the gerund, the noun. Or I can say the written word is powerful. So you should learn how to write well. Now remember that written is not the simple past tense of write. If I want to talk about what I wrote yesterday, then that's how I would say it. Written is the past participle. It's different in this irregular verb. And that's the trick with irregular verbs. You have to know all three forms. The present, the simple past, and the possibility of a past participle. Those are used in different verb tenses or whenever we need an adjective. Lose. Lose as a verb means to misplace, and people lose things all the time. I lose things all the time, and I can say losing stuff is horrible. Where losing is the action, it's the idea, it's the gerund of misplacing things. And I can say the losing team probably doesn't feel as good as the winning team after a sporting event. And I can say, my lost watch has been found. And I can be really happy because now it's no longer my lost watch, it's my found watch. And that's an adjective. Now, we're almost done because we're going to talk about to finish. To finish means to end. And I can talk about putting the finishing touch on a video, where finishing is the adjective of the last thing that I want to do, or I can talk about finishing videos, feeling so great because I'm not wasting any more time. Not that any of this is a waste of time. I mean, anyway, or I can talk about this finished lesson right now as we review.
Intro to Participles. What are participles? Participles are forms of verbs used as either nouns, gerunds, or adjectives. What are gerunds? Gerunds are forms of verbs that are used as nouns. What is the form used for present participles? Verb plus ing. What is the form used for past participles? Verb plus ed. What are past participles always used as? Past participles are always used as adjectives. What do present participles describe when used as adjectives? Present participles usually describe a cause when used as adjectives. What do past participles describe when used as adjectives? Past participles usually describe an effect or emotion when used as adjectives. What is tricky about irregular verbs? Irregular verbs are tricky because you have to know all three verb forms: present, simple past, and past participle.